Hello, everyone. It's Friday. Welcome to the latest edition of the Mia Connect Power Chat. I'm your host, Mia Voss. You guessed it. And we have four fabulous guests again this week, like we always do. It's going to be power packed. So I'm going to tell you right now, I want to see some questions and some chatter going on. Chop, chop, let's get going. I am going to first say thank you to my continuing sponsor and business affiliate, Edge Ad Exchange, and I'm going to have to get some applause going here in 1 second and get it warmed up. Because you guys know I love that. Yay. And I'm going to introduce my guests, and then we're going to get to some comments, and then we're going to get to some serious chatter. So I have a very diverse, you know how I love that, right, Shannon?
Yes, a very diverse.
A very diverse panel going on here, and I'm going to start with one lady that I love. This is Miss Ileane Davidson coming out of LA. Hello, darling. Tell us about you real quick, sweetie.
So I am here to help you create velocity in your business, and I've been on CNN, the Today Show, and I've chosen to really plant this flag here in Google Plus and show y'all how some ROI.
And I'm going to give that. That too. Next up, I'm going to go online. I have John Lee Dumas. He is Entrepreneur on Fire. Welcome to the show.
J-O-D!
You've been a little bit of a hangout hooker this week because I saw you on a show yesterday too, and it was awesome. So, not that anybody needs you to tell us, but tell us about you.
I've been slumming around, Mia, no doubt, but I am the founder and host of Entrepreneur on Fire, which is a 7-day-a-week business podcast where I interview inspiring and successful entrepreneurs, share their journey. We've done over 500 shows now in the course of about 16 or 17 months. We were voted best in iTunes for 2013, but it is official. We lost the Stitcher Podcast Awards last night up in San Francisco for Best Business Awards. So cue the booing. Cue the booing.
Yeah, I don't have a little wah, wah, wah. Right. Actually, I do.
APN Marketplace took it down.
Ah, there you go.
Perfect.
Oh, man. But, you know, I really wish you would do something with your life. Good Lord. You got it all going on. And we are definitely going to pick your brain about the year of the podcast because I saw that. And I know Shannon is going to get all over that, too. So welcome to the show. We're so happy to see you. Where are you out of, by the way?
San Diego.
Nice. I got the West Coast covered pretty hardcore because next up I have Miss Pretty in Pink. Hello, Rebecca Radice.
Good morning.
And I want to tell everybody, don't call it Radice.
Yeah, radish. I get it all.
Nehemiah, I'm with you on that one, sister. Tell us about you.
Well, I am the founder and CEO of Rebecca Radice LLC. It is a boutique digital marketing agency, and I think Eli and I have a lot in common. We are here to help you really take what you have established offline and blow it up online. So really figure out how to translate that and then monetize.
And we are definitely going to cover that today. And yeah, that is a kapuya moment.
I love that as soon as we're done.
Exactly. We are definitely going to cover that topic today too because I love that. I think there's a lot of people that have not planted their flag yet here. The water's fine. Come on in, right? So, and last but not least, we have my brother from another mother, Mr. Shannon, Jay Hernandez. What up?
How you doing?
Hi, darling. How are you? Do the face that we love that you do.
Oh, yeah. When someone tells me something that I just can't do anything about, I just go.
I need to make that into like a cartoon T-shirt, I think.
No, seriously. You ever come into that where people are like, well, you can't do this and you can't do that, and then they throw so many things at you, and I just go.
I got nothing.
Can't do anything about it.
And I actually do it a lot. I'm not as effective at it as you are, but well, listen, Mr. Wears a lot of hats. That's your Native American name.
Yes.
Tell us about you.
Well, I am the owner of ShannonJHernandez.com, and like Rebecca and Eli, I try to translate that idea of offline to online. There seems to be a lot of people out there that still can't figure this out. John is a success story at that. So, well, actually, just online, but just and so just doing that is just helping people out. That's what I really enjoy doing. And of course, as everyone knows, I help my sister's law firm, Hernandez Family Law, here in Phoenix, Arizona, and translate that offline experience into online. So trying to meld the two together.
And she's got her own show as well too. She's doing a lot of HOAs, right?
Yeah, she does a lot of HOAs called the Family Law, the Family Law Insider, and she does the HOAs here, and then she translates them into a podcast. Well, I do all that editing for her.
Nice. You got that skill set. That's why I'm picking your brain all the time too. So, and what is it? Make divorce easy. That's gonna dumb it down, right?
Yes. Make divorce easy and cheap.
Exactly. And we all love cheap. All right, guys, we're gonna get into the part that I love, which is engaging the audience and getting everybody out there. So again, I really do want you guys to ask questions, and don't forget that you can tweet that crap crazy hashtag. I know I'm not supposed to do that, but I don't care. And also, get your learn on is my other favorite, and we'll be posting those here as well. And then we are about a minute, maybe about 30 seconds a minute ahead of you. So if we look like we're ignoring you, we're actually not, so not to worry. Let's get a couple comments up here.
I will.
Yeah. And look what's happening today, by the way.
Oh.
Friggin' Google, I can't even take it. So it's going to be that kind of day where I can't even read the thing. It's Lainey, Eli Davidson, Shannon, John Lee. Can't wait to hear from you all. Hey, girlfriend. Lainey's actually going to be helping out our girl Eli with her show that's after this as well. So
awesome.
shout
out to the Lainey.
That's our sister, right? Mark Seidel, this is an amazing panel. Yay. Don't make me break out the pom-poms. You know what? Go ahead, brother, because we actually kind of like that. And then I am actually going to, I think I'm going to jump into podcasting if that's okay with you guys, because I do want to talk about entrepreneurs, but this is a subject that's very near and dear to obviously John, JLD, and Shannon's heart. But I want to get this question out for Laura, because she is saying, well, she definitely can't, she can't watch. I don't think you're going to be able to see this, but she says, I've been thinking about doing podcasting. She goes, do any of you rip your Hangout to repurpose into a podcast? I know that Jason Weiser does.
I do that.
I've been thinking about it, and obviously you would lose interactivity with the podcast and then facial expressions like we make, obviously. But I wonder if it's worth making the extra effort to market it, or would it be a bonus? And I will want to tell you guys that we're talking in the green room, we are all for-profit people. And so we are going to talk about shit that makes us money, or things that are successful. So, guys, let's jump into podcasts, because as John Lee Dumas calls it, it is Year of the Podcast, 2014. So let's talk about that. Anyway.
Well, absolutely. I mean, I'll jump in here for a second, Mia, because this is a subject that's near and dear to my heart. And, to that question specifically, I think there's a little bit of a misconception that I would kind of like to address first and foremost.
Please do.
And that specifically is podcasting. A lot of people look at it as an audio-only format, and I was actually fortunate enough to be invited up to the iTunes headquarters just a couple months ago with Lewis Howes to sit down with them and to talk about, quote-unquote, the year of the podcast, 2014, which was not only my phrase for the year, but is also theirs, which is really exciting. And as we were leaving that, and they gave us a ton of great insights about what they were doing for podcasting in 2014 and just the numbers. It's all incredible stuff. But when we were leaving, we turned around right at the end and we said, guys, iTunes, what's one thing that you're looking to see more of in 2014? And they said video podcasts. And so what I don't think that people realize enough is that video podcasts are very much a thing. I mean, go to the top business podcasts in iTunes right now, and what's one of the top ones? TED Talks podcast. And those are all video podcasts. You can go right into the iTunes store, click play, the video pops up. You're going to watch an entire video podcast, and it's amazing. It's interactive. It's right there. And iTunes wants more of that. So they're going to reward people who have video podcasts. And you might be saying, why, Mia? Why are they rewarding video podcasts? Simple. Because video podcast means people need to be in the iTunes store watching the actual video. And what happens when people are actually in your store instead of on a run or in the car? they can buy stuff in your store. They can go to the music section or just the video section or the book section because they're already sitting there in your store. So iTunes is looking to draw people. They love podcasts because it's a free medium and it draws millions of people to their site, over 45 million every single month, podcasting alone, and it draws people into their store, and video podcasting does that like no other. So for somebody like yourself, Mia, that's having this great hangout right here that would be valuable for people on any level, my recommendation always is this. Take this recording, create a video podcast with it, but then also detach the audio only from this podcast and create a separate RSS feed. So you're going to be submitting 2 separate podcasts, one with the video and one with just the audio. Now, there's multiple reasons to do it, but the main reason to do that is because you do need to be thinking about your listeners that are listening on tablets, that are listening on smartphones. There's a small amount of memory on those devices, and we can't download 500 megabytes for just one 45-minute episode, but a 45-minute episode audio only is only about 20 to 21 megabytes. So have the audio version available for those people that are going on the runs. Yes, they'll be missing a little bit of this great audio, visual stuff, but then they can go back and watch that at a later time. At least be there for them and have that option.
Right? Yeah.
So video podcasting, guys, is definitely huge. iTunes will reward you for that. You'll see me diving into this in 2014. I do a 7-day-a-week podcast right now, audio only. I'm diving into video because it's huge.
And I love that you're saying it's not an either-or type of thing, right?
Right.
Like you create a menu. Shannon, I bet you're just itching over there, which first of all, can I just say, and I do need to hold up a piece of paper. Thank you, Debi Davis, for reminding me that, but I don't have one right here. Did you mention the name Lewis Howe? And I bet you nerded out so hardcore.
Lewis Howe is my mentor.
That's right, yeah. I bet you still nerd out anyway. You're so cool. That's
Lewis is awesome,
so cool.
Yeah.
That's
I love
awesome.
Lewis.
Shannon, jump in on that, brother.
No, I heard you, John, talk about that on Amy Porterfield's podcast a few weeks back. Amy Porterfield, me and I are big fans. So I mean, I do believe, that even in video video on YouTube is huge anyway. So it doesn't surprise me that iTunes is going that route anyway to reward people for creating video content. Video content as it is it can be difficult, but don't let that scare you away. There are various forms of how to create your video content. Like say for instance, John could do a hangout just like we're doing here, Mia, and if it's uploaded in the iTunes store, I mean, why wouldn't you want to be at every turn? Why wouldn't you have an audiobook an audiobook? Why wouldn't you have a book, period, to put into the iTunes store if they are engaged directly into the iTunes store? So that's kind of one thing that I try to recommend to people is why can't you be at every turn so whenever they're looking that you can be there? I mean, that's kind of how when I see things like John, and I see Lewis Howes, and I see Amy Porterfield, and I see all these influencers that are doing the same thing. They are all, I mean, you see them at every turn, and you're like, where the heck did they come from? They're everywhere.
Right.
And and this was something that I had learned when I took a creative live course from Lewis, actually, and it was just talking about how you could repurpose a lot of this stuff that you're doing, and that was just it wasn't necessarily mind blowing to me, but it was more along the lines of like, wow. I could be doing this, and why wouldn't I want people to show up? And I think even Derek Halpern said, he showed up onto the scene, and people were like, where did this guy come from? He is everywhere. He is at every turn. He is on email. He's on Facebook. He's on Twitter. He's everywhere. He's writing articles. So, what John is saying, I think, holds a lot of credence to what we could see in 2014. Plant your flag now if you can do it inside of iTunes, and if anyone knows, it's going to be John. I personally have not dove into that realm because of my own personal time limitations, but I don't want to have any limitations. I want to be able to do those things, and as you guys all know, I use my sister as my biggest case study. She's my biggest case study. She's taking a huge risk, with a lot of this stuff. So and she's already got a law firm that is already successful. So to do something like this is it's risk taking in the law field because of you don't want to break any rules or lose any type of legal reputation because you can get your license revoked.
And I just want to do a shout out to use the platforms with an intention of making money. One of the things,
Yeah.
it's really key that as you use your content, it's super valuable for the people that consume it, but also that they can see how there's a real action they can take, and that's something I just want to have in the conversation. So as we create these hangouts and repurpose them, there's really consumable value for the people that are listening and using it.
Yeah, your proprietary information, your smarts, this stuff is worth some money, right? I'm telling you. Hey, let's mix that. And Debbie, thank you for this reminder again. There we go. Son of a bitch.
Hell yeah, I love it.
About Android users. Hi, Heath Patterson. He's my new favorite thing, by the way.
Heath.
Well, yes.
Whoa.
So what about Android users, party people? So, I mean, how does that work? We're talking about the iTunes store, but tell us how, tell us how that's going to translate.
I can take that real quick, too.
Yes,
and right before I answer that question, I do just want to capitalize on what Shannon was saying. And one thing that we're going to be hearing, guys, in 2014 as well, something that Paul Colligan and Mike Koinings are really talking about a lot, which is so powerful for any entrepreneur, that time is money. All we have is time. We need to be efficient. Multicasting, guys. You create an amazing video, then you take that video and you're releasing it to YouTube, obviously, and then potentially to iTunes, and attaching it, making an audio podcast, and then you can take the transcript and create a blog. And so just one piece of content can then be brought out to all those levels. So like Shannon, is saying so eloquently, that we can be everywhere. We can literally be at every single corner. They're like, who is this guy? They're everywhere. Well, it's just one piece of content being repurposed. So that's powerful. And part of that trip that we did up to San Francisco to talk about Android now, we also Lewis and myself, stopped at the Stitcher Radio headquarters, which is right downtown San Francisco. I got to sit down with the CEO of Noah Shannock. And for any Android user, myself included, let me grab my phone here, I have a Galaxy S4. I mean, that's what I use. That's it. Where's my phone at? Oh, it's right here.
Yeah, right here. That's right.
I'm an Android guy too, and I use Stitcher Radio. Is an amazing app for your phone, but even more powerfully, and something that Noah Shannock's so excited about, is they're going in the dashboard of cars everywhere, every single day. They're in Mazdas, they're in Fords, they're in BMWs as we speak. They're going into Chevys, they're going into every other car manufacturer you can imagine. They are going Toyotas, Hondas. They're going to be in the dashboard. So you're going to sit down in your car, Mia. You're going to turn it on. And you're going to be able to see the dashboard right there. You can click on Stitcher Radio and go to any podcast that you want, sitting right there. Right now, 4 out of 10 people know what the word podcast means. When this revolution into car dashboards actually takes place, which is going on right now, that number is going to 7, 8, and 9. Because when you sit in the car and you see Stitcher Radio podcasts, that's going to click, and it's going to start this whole chain of event, and that's exciting.
It won't be as much of a head tilt. There'll be less of, what? When they do that. And I just have to say that I think Heath Patterson might have just wet his pants, because I believe they did a show at his Mazda, and that was with Kitty and James and Greg Trujillo. They did a Google Glass show where they literally were going through and touring cars. And I believe that was Mazda, so my bad if I didn't get that right.
I own a Mazda because of that reason.
I totally the same thing, John. I went out and got a new car this year, and I was like, it's got to have Stitcher Radio in it. That's swear to God.
Stitcher Radio needs to send y'all a check right now, too.
Yeah, exactly.
No kidding.
That's what I'm talking about.
I've got a question to Rebecca, because Rebecca and I have kind of the same background in a sense. Rebecca was in radio back in the day, and I want to ask Rebecca what you think, how this can be a direct threat, or how maybe radio stations could capitalize on this.
Well, that's a really interesting thought, Shannon, and I don't know that I've given it too much thought, but you can certainly see the evolution and what's happened with radio, going from the days of every radio station was owned locally, to now a situation where it's not just corporations that own them, but they've decided that they've got to go completely online. So you've got iHeartRadio, you've got Stitcher, everything that we see out there that we can access our favorite radio stations no matter where we're at. So I think to keep up, they've decided most definitely that they've got to jump on the bandwagon. And not only are we seeing a situation where local radio stations are jumping on that bandwagon with online radio, but they're getting their DJs very involved as well, where they're kind of breaking off into their own little, I guess, substations, and really putting them at the forefront. It's certainly a lot more work than it used to be in radio these days.
Yeah, it is.
Because you're juggling so many different things, and where, you know, we used to joke, yeah, you have a face for radio. That's just not the case anymore, because you really, you know, you've got to be everywhere and be seen by everybody, you know, from your marketing collateral all the way through to, you know, hangouts like this today, which here on a local level, in LA, boy, are they really using Hangouts, from our local TV stations to our radio.
Fox Channel 11, right?
Big time, yeah. Fox 11 is huge with those.
Hi, Maria Cleavon. Hi, Maria.
Yes, they do a fantastic job. So it's exciting to see that they're taking that leap. They definitely recognize the value, and I think that's going to continue to evolve.
Can I just tell you, when Shannon said that about you being in radio, the only thing that came through my head was, ooh, that's a face for TV. So just saying. for you, darling.
Yeah, I don't know
I'll take that. Thank you.
I don't know why you were in radio.
I don't either.
In the blood. I grew up in the family. My dad was in radio and LA radio, so you know, it just the bug bit me early on, I guess.
Legacy.
But, yeah, exactly.
Hey, real quick, I'm going to pull up Kitty, because she was watching your show yesterday that you were on, JLD. Hold on, let me see if I can do it. Here, listening. She says, Johnny Dewis, I'm firmly one of your groupies. Rebecca hugs and kisses, looking cute. She loves Eli's hair. She thinks Shannon is enthusiastic. And she likes my makeup. So we got that going for us. Thank you, Kitty.
Love
she
that.
is rocking it with her own show.
I love my makeup too.
I love your makeup too. Back on the podcast as we continue to nerd out, which I absolutely love because it's value for all of us. Jeff C. wants to know, what's the best? Damn it! What's the best software street podcast? Yeah, I told you we get to swear, John, didn't I?
Yeah, you can use. I think the one that the industry standard, and I'm sure this is the one that John uses, is Libsyn, and you could also use Blueberry, but I know a lot of people use Libsyn.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a big Libsyn fan. That's short for Liberated Syndication, but libsyn.com is actually where you can host your media. And so you can host it for a monthly charge as low as $5 a month, as much as $75 a month. And for me, even doing a 7-day-a-week show, I'm only needing to be at like the $50 a month plan. So anybody that's going to be less than that could easily be at $15 or $20 a month. That's for unlimited streaming. It gets archived on a monthly basis. And again, it's unlimited streaming, which is so powerful. You can't host these things on your website, because if you do start to get a lot of traffic, it will slow you down incredibly. But another great one, Shannon, that's picking up right now is SoundCloud. Yeah, they're a company based out of San Francisco as well. I was fortunate enough, after Stitcher Radio, I made the tri-circuit and sat down with the CEO of SoundCloud, and he is really passionate about podcasting. They've been so focused on musicians for so long, and they're staying focused there and is passionate as well, but they're opening up a whole new segment to podcasters. So I have 200,000 followers on on SoundCloud. It's so cool because you can host your podcast there as well, and people can comment intra-episode. They can literally leave comments at different parts of the episode, and that's a game changer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you guys, I think when you put the two things together, the year of the podcast and the year of the HOA that we all know is coming through, JLD, you better get your party meetings on, brother. Because I have a feeling people are going to be coming to you and wanting to say, like, how can I combine these two things together? You know what I mean? Or they're going to be looking at you. Shannon,
Mia, joint venture. Let's do it.
JV, you all heard it.
JV with the JLD.
See, with these hangouts, you just out yourself with any of these ideas. You know what I mean? Like, you never drink and do hangouts, at least, you know, as far as you know, right, guys?
Hey, it's 9:25 a.m. I am Irish coffee all the way.
Yeah, that's
Nice.
Clinkies. Not yet, but I will give you the Clinkies on that one too. A couple other quick ones. Greg Boysa, thank you for bringing some joy and entertainment information for our panel. Thank you, darling. We've got David Leopold, who wants to know if Mark Seidel ever does sleep. If you guys don't know him, Mark, speaking of creating things, came up with a new website called, oh God, now see I'm terrible. Mark, post it. It's for HOAs. So we're marry these things two together. It's a schedule for HOAs. If you wanted to get on an HOA, if you want to see what it's about, it's a pretty cool idea. So I'm loving that I'm seeing everybody creating new stuff out of that. Any other comments about podcasting? Because I am definitely, as I'm jumping on it. And well, actually, let me ask you this. So for people, okay, so I've got an HOA, so we know what that does, and Eli and Rebecca could use it as well. But give me some ideas, you guys, of what sort of the everyman could do with podcasts. Is it something that they could do, like, or is it just more that they're the consumer?
So I want to jump in here. A podcast is a great way to start a subscription membership site. So you can really get people just you can give them 3 days of content with the 4 days that they have to catch up and really get the meat of the matter in those 4 days that are purchased in a subscription site. So
nice.
I
love how your brain works.
Yeah, I mean, and I have a client that's, doing mid six figures working 2 hours a week. So I think that's something that that is like shout out to the podcast and the subscription site.
And I believe that's filed under Get Paid to Be Awesome.
Pretty much.
which you all know that I'm a big fan of. Rod Knight says SoundCloud has G+ integration, so we got that going on.
Huge.
For us too. So yeah, that is awesome. All right, so and another thing we all have in common, obviously, is that we're all entrepreneurs and we work with entrepreneurs. Let's talk about that, you guys, either from the standpoint of your clients that you work with or being an entrepreneur. I kind of just want to open that up and see if anybody in the audience has some questions, because obviously this podcast HOA has the entrepreneurial spirit to it too. But maybe, talk about some of your favorite stories from clients or, big disasters or whatever you want to tell me about. Let's jump into it. Anybody? Come on.
Do we even want to go into that?
I'll tell you what. Maybe what we can do this too, because I also know a lot of you guys have worked. In fact, all four of you have come across some famous clients and some famous people. Why don't you tell me some stories too of some of the best stuff that you got from some of your favorite clients? Great bon mots, advice, or any time that you nerded out on them because you were so starstruck.
God, I think my only experience really is with my sister, because I love to see this is my older sister, and to see my sister grow and never be involved in this space whatsoever, posting the occasional Facebook picture. I think for me, if there's a story that I had to tell, it was just actually yesterday, and she was creating a Google form for a program that we're creating here for local people who are trying to get a divorce. And so to watch her actually record how-to videos through Google Hangouts and then have her, you're talking about a woman who's working like 14-hour days and trying to raise a 3-year-old child and manage a husband too at the same time, and she's trying to learn all this stuff so that she can, get ahead in the game in a Phoenix lawyer market, and to watch her and go back and watch everything that she's doing without me having to do it for her makes me so proud to see that she's doing it and inserting and creating Google Forms, and me helping her with the Google Forms, and her going out and doing her own HOA. So I think if you've got the spirit and you've got the drive to do something like that, you will get it. You'll go for it. You'll go for it. I'm sure everyone on this panel, they can attest to that. You'll go for it, and soon you may work maybe 4 or 5 hours, or maybe you will do a 7-day-a-week podcast, or maybe you will be a social media consultant. Doesn't matter, but as long as you put the drive forth, and like my sister or anyone else, I still try to consult people at the radio station about this, and there's still kind of a disconnect there. They need to see the power behind it.
Well, and Shannon, maybe talk a little bit more about that. I'd love to hear what that has done, doing the podcast for your sister, doing the HOAs, what that's done for her business. What has that done for her self-esteem? What has that done for just her visibility? There's so many different benefits, obviously.
Yeah, that's interesting you asked that, Rebecca, because the other day I was driving to work, and I heard a radio ad on the local news station for a competing divorce attorney, and I thought to myself, well, I thought this guy was doing online marketing and he was doing it word of mouth, and so I went to work and I checked that out, and his website had just turned stagnant. It was at a standstill. Last blog was like in October, and I texted my sister and I said, did you see that so-and-so had, he's doing ads on KTAR? And she says, no, but I heard, I saw a TV ad for this person. And she goes, everyone's going this traditional media route. She goes, we're doing it in the online realm. So to answer your question, long story longer, we take every day. We create a Google form or a Google Doc into the form of an Excel spreadsheet, and we track every call that is coming through. We track every walk-in. We track everything. And the comments that we get regarding how they found us was A, through a podcast, B, through a blog, C, through a hangout somehow. And then they say, we love everything that you have created on that website because we've looked at other lawyers, other divorce lawyers, and they want money, and we want someone we can trust. So that was huge for her, and it has really built up her self-esteem because she creates this content every day.
I got to jump in here because we've got two. They're pretty good. One says, did Shannon just say manage a husband? And then, and this is actually.
You think I was in radio, right?
Right. But, this is from our buddy, John Lee. Ray Paray, is there a podcast for managing a husband? Which is actually how, shout out to Ray, who is the owner of Dauphin. He's been on our show. He's a local business out of Maine, and that's how I got connected to you, John Lee, was through Ray, because I know he's on your Entrepreneur on Fire program too. So yeah, they want to know if there's one for managing that. Guys, I definitely think as far as entrepreneurs, what I'm loving is that I do think that it's not just like starving artists anymore. I think everybody is working, and yeah, we're working our ass off in 12 or 14-hour days. I also love it when people say, "Did you get the holiday off?" And I'm like, "Have you met me?"
Yeah.
Like,
holiday? What's holiday?
Like you don't get that at all. But yeah, Eli, jump in on that on entrepreneurs too, because I know you're.
Well, I mean, there's this massive opportunity right now on G+ and podcast of like owning the territory. Mm-hmm. So there's a woman who was an interior decorator, and like the top rated interior decorator in Maryland. But when you really hone in on the niche, and I like to call it the diamond in your niche, and really find that place that people are just salivating for information. They're like, please give it to me. Like the people going through a divorce. So with her diamond was finding the furniture that's making you sick. Because if you've got a newly diagnosed respiratory disease, if you have Lyme disease, all these crazy diseases, like your furniture makes you sick.
Sure, off-gassing.
So what she did is she took herself from an interior decorator to the house doctor.
Wow.
I prescribe new furniture for where you live. Now, to me as an entrepreneur, and what she's seeing is she's getting so much more traction. And so for her to start with her niche and to do the weekly, the sick furniture show.
I mean, you talk about pain points, right? That's what you're
and so for her, and I think just having that message out, because I know John Lee. What is it with me and these earbuds?
Because John Lee has
I was talking about it yesterday, but to really get this opportunity in the year of the HOA and the podcast to go like, I am the House Doctor podcast. I'm everywhere. If you've got, if you're like having trouble breathing, I'm the go-to person.
Right.
So it's just this massive opportunity, and the person that I see using podcasts to make a substantial amount of money is really focused on solving a problem. So that's the shout out from here.
I love that. Oh, go ahead, Rebecca.
I was going to say, I think, Eli, it's all about knowing who you are, knowing who you serve, and then owning your niche. It's exactly what you're talking about. So figuring out what that pain point is, and then putting your own unique spin on whatever it is that you do. I love that whole idea of transitioning from interior designer or interior decorator and how wide open that industry is, but then getting just super narrow and focused on who she fixes, how she fixes them, and how she can help that particular person. So I think for those people that are trying to figure out, okay, how to use HOAs, how to use podcasts, what is it that you love to talk about? What is it that you love to do every single day? I always ask people, if you could do one thing every single day, what would it be? So take your love of whatever that is and figure out how to monetize it, as Eli said too, because I think that's also the other challenge is people think, I'm out here creating all this content, I'm thinking about doing an HOA or adding podcasting, but they don't really know, how do I take it from this is all fun and good and I'm enjoying myself, I'm getting traction, but I'm not making any money. I think that's the other big thing we hear a lot of.
I just want to jump in on the how do you take what you love and make money, because there's this, I don't know why, there's this piece around people will pay to have a problem solved. Because that's really what any business is. Like any entrepreneurial venture is solving a problem. So that element really, it's just right in there. And when it's super specific, people will pay a premium. And I'm just all about the $1 million. Like I like lots of shiny. So
right, which is my phrase is the riches are in the niches, bitches.
The riches are in the niches, baby. And there's a study done in NSA, and this was people that make over $1 million sharing their expertise. And it was a global study with people that could confirm they were making at least $1 million a year with sharing their expertise, and every single one of them globally was a big fish in a small pond. So the niches are taking your, I'm the person that is the house doctor, and just owning that, because that's really the only pond you can own.
And do it authentically. Which, speaking of which, Ray wants to know the name of the house doctor. So let's get some business done on that. And what I think it can be scary for people is creating a niche, because I love it.
You see the look on John's face right now?
I missed it. I gotta go back and watch it. It wasn't good. So what I'm loving is I think the niche scares the crap out of people, because you're like, but I want to serve everybody, right? But once you niche it down and it feels counterintuitive, that's when you get your Avatar Jimmy. And
Avatar
Jimmy. He talked about this yesterday on the show with Ryan Hanley, which I have to give a shout out to Ryan, because he said the funniest thing yesterday. You were talking about how well your podcasts were doing, and he just goes, "Oh, that's stupid," which I love is now the new way of saying that's awesome. So for anybody who doesn't speak English as a first language, they're probably like, what a jackass. But it actually was a high compliment to you of, oh, that's stupid. I thought that was awesome. So talk about Avatar Jimmy, because I just thought I was so fascinated with that.
Awesome. Well, I have a lot of things to say right now. I'll try to keep it as brief as possible. But first,
I got you fired up, didn't she?
Yeah, I just saw the image for this hangout, and it's of me and you. That's pretty cool. I didn't remember that. I gotta take that. Yeah, that's so cool.
You and your BFF, that was.
I gotta do my shout out to Portland, Maine here. My Becky's Diner mug. Gotta love that. But awesome. Listen. First and foremost, I love what you said about the niches. I want to just really even go further a little bit on that. A quote that I love, which is to all the listeners out there, you have to niche down, and then you have to niche down again, then you literally have to niche down till it hurts. I mean, it is painful. That I talk to that's starting a business is so scared about niching down. They're like, well, I don't want to leave out anybody. I want to be able to serve my target market as the world. And you're just not going to serve anybody by doing that. So dominate your
serving everyone, you serve no one, right?
Exactly. You're going to resonate with nobody on any levels, and that does go to your avatar. So I mentor people on launching their podcast and on podcasting in general, and so I know this for a fact, and I'm in this group as well. When I first started, 99% of people that are launching their podcast have no idea who their avatar is. And an avatar is not somebody between the ages of 25 and 45. And this applies to all businesses, guys, not just podcasting. That lives in North America, that likes drinking coffee in the morning and commutes to work. That's a demographic. That's not an avatar. An avatar is one person who's the perfect ideal listener for you. If you could just create the perfect listener for your podcast, the perfect customer for your business. I know Ray, who's on this call, knows who the perfect customer is for his business, for Dauphin. I know he knows that because he's in Fire Nation Elite, and he's a smart guy, and he listens, and he takes action on that. And so for me, my avatar is Jimmy. He's 34 years old. He drives to work every single day on a 27-minute commute. He exercises 5 days a week at the local gym. He has 2 kids that are 3 and 5 years old. He's incredibly busy. He doesn't like working in a cubicle, but he does, looking to break out. So I know inside out my avatar, Jimmy. Now, I have listeners from 8 years old to 80. I mean, across the board. Just because I know my avatar and I speak to my avatar every single day doesn't mean I'm excluding anybody else. It just means that I know my mission and I know my target market like nobody else knows my target market. So we're going to come up to 1,000 forks in the road, Mia. You can either go left or right. And if you know that avatar, those answers are easy every single day. You just ask, what would Jimmy do, left or right? And then you, boom, you go. No waste of time, no wasted effort.
WWJD.
WWJD, baby. There's no waste of time, no wasted effort, no wasted money. Just make that decision and go on. Stop, moving forward slowly. Like people ask, like, John, you exploded onto the scene. Like, how'd you do that? I'm like, because I didn't waste time with the small stuff. I didn't take time at every single, fork in the road, sweating and stressing and having anxiety over it. I just plowed through and I made mistakes and I self-corrected and then I failed and then I corrected again and then finally I started finding my groove.
That's right. And think about that too, you guys, when we're saying time is money. If you've got that down and so you're not every 2 seconds, what do I do? You are just busting on through it. And so that cumulative time that you save, not being confused because you've really niched it down, what would Jimmy do? I know, Eli. I know we're all preaching that same thing, which is awesome.
Preach it to
I
me.
also want to say, mine is in that, John, I couldn't agree more. And
she just got to hit off your energy bong, by the way.
Boom.
Bong.
And also, what would Jimmy spend money on?
Yeah.
And so, I just want to throw the shout out that you really can have a niche that people pay you thousands of dollars in their first conversation with you because you've spent the time to really know how you can solve their problem. So I'm just putting that in the space. You don't have to take 2 years to have people invest highly in solving their problems when you really, really, really understand them. I know what kind of shoes my girls wear.
That's right.
Another metaphor that you could use, Eli, I always think of the plumbing metaphor because anytime I have a plumbing issue, I am not going to do it myself. I'm going to pay someone to do it for me. I'm
going to get shit done.
To get shit done, not necessarily to see the plumber's crack, however, to get it done. I don't want to see. I want to, someone's solving a problem for me. I don't want to do it. Do I want to go out and do I want to landscape my own yard? No, I'd rather pay some landscapers to do that. So I think when you look at trying to build your business, what can you do? How can you solve the problem? I think Eli hits it right on the head and drives it home well with saying, what can you do to solve the problem? How can you help?
Well, Shannon, you bring up such a great point. It's also something that they know they can't solve. If I wanted to divorce as much as I wanted it, I can't do it. I got to go to your sister. Bam.
You know what? As you guys are talking, I keep having Vanilla Ice go through my head. If there's a problem, I'll solve it. Sorry. Who thought that was going to come up today, right? It really is. You're just niching down on that. Apparently, the energy bong went over really well on the show. Real quick,
energy bong.
Exactly, that's one of my favorites, by the way.
Oh my God!
I'm gonna get a half your energy. I actually said a friend of mine had a new baby. I'm like, ooh, when can I get a hit off the baby bong? And then that sounded inappropriate. So you gotta work it out a little bit. But our favorite, everybody loves them. Some Winabate Johnson.
Oh.
I could listen to John Lee all day. Oh wait, I can podcast.
Hashtag.
Yeah, she's awesome. A couple more questions about podcasting because again, the people are wanting to. We're lighting a fire. On fire. Fairly new to this, only my second seminar. At what point do you recommend I should start a podcast? We kind of covered that a little bit, but let's jump into that again, you guys.
Ken, phenomenal question. We're doing some great things here, Mia. I love this hangout. The energy is awesome here. But again, we only have so much time and only so much to do. So I do want to share with Ken and other people out there that I actually do hold a free live podcast workshop every single week.
Do.
It's an hour and a half long. It's all podcasting. I answer all your questions. So podcastersparadise.com. You can sign up for that free webinar. We're having one on Tuesday and next Friday. We have a blast there. So that'll answer all the detailed questions. But Ken, to answer this question right now, podcasting literally should be in my opinion, should be one of those first things that you're implementing, as a business owner, as somebody that's looking to create an audience in your niche. If you want to have authority in a field, if you want to have credibility and build an intimate audience, and why I call it intimate, Mia, because think about it. when's the last time you listened to a podcast? Maybe when you were running around the boulevard in Portland, and you probably had earbuds in because you were listening on your iPod or your iPhone or your Android, and you're inside the head of that person. So you're connecting with your listeners in a way that bloggers can't do, that that we're doing right now because of video for sure, but podcasters can do this as well, and podcasting hosts. So it's never too early to start. Entrepreneur on Fire was the first thing that I launched. I had no online presence. I had no online platform. I didn't have a Twitter account. Didn't have a Facebook fan page. I just launched my podcast first. I used the amazing leverage of the iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and SoundCloud directory to build my audience, so that when I did start to add the other pieces to the pie, the Google+, the Facebook, the Twitter, my audience started to flood in there. So I love having a platform like this. But I use a podcast to build an audience. So if you want to establish authority, if you want to talk to people in the industry, that are crushing it, like Mia, like Eli, like whoever, like if you want to be having those conversations with people, you have to create a platform that they're going to come and be able to share their knowledge with an audience. And podcasting is a great way to kind of put your stake in the sand and say, I've created something of value.
That's a great point, you guys, about that being in somebody's head. Although I wonder if people are going to start getting stalkers. They're like, dude, you were talking to me. You're right.
I do get emails all the time.
I was going to say, I bet people nerd out on you.
The first sentence of the emails that I receive a lot are saying, John, I know this is going to sound weird, but, and then I'm like, what is this going to say? And then it's always, but what it is, it's really nice. It's like, I feel like we're friends. I really do, because I listen to you every morning on my walk with my dog, or every morning commute, or I took a cross-country flight and you were in my ears for 6 hours. Like, I feel like I know you. I feel like I know your personality. I feel like we're friends. And I get those emails all the time, and it just proves to the fact that intimate connection, that voice, is so real, that words on a blog post, things that you just can't translate in the same manner.
That's funny that he says that, and I want to continue on with that thought, because what John is talking about and how John conducts his podcast, he's in their ear for a certain amount of time. Now, given that, when I go into the radio station every night, I'm only on the air for 45 seconds at a time. Right. Yet, people still come in and they say, and I go to shows to me and they say, I feel like I know you. I feel like I know what you're all about. I know that you have internet problems directly at 1 p.m. every day, because because I have done these things where I have weaved my radio presence into my online presence, and so they know exactly who I am. They know who I am. John is able to get into the ear of someone, and he's really able to capitalize on who is his target market and what do they need and how can he inspire them. And that was something that I got from Lewis Howes. That's what I definitely got from you, John, when I saw you guys at NMX. And if you can get into the ear and get into the head, it's like almost like it's like the easiest way of brainwashing someone,
It is.
because you've got them in your ear, and so it's so great. But if you're doing it for the greater good, then you can build that audience, you can build that trust, you can build whatever you want around it, as long as you're weaving those other platforms in. Like last night, I posted something to Instagram, and all of a sudden, my Instagram blows up because of it. They see that I'm also in these other areas, and when you add the element, and when you add the element of audio, then they know you. And just like John, John's a true testament to that right there.
Thank you. No, I appreciate that, Shannon. And that's why I'm always saying to my mentees and the people within Podcasters Paradise, bring a piece of yourself out. Add your own personality. You're your host. That was one of my mistakes when I started, was that I had no experience. So I was very robotic. I was very scripted. I just didn't know any better. But I was always looking to improve as a host. And the more I started adding personalized things, the more I started realizing that my audience was resonating with that. And I didn't even know that at first. So I wasted a lot of time at the beginning that I like to tell people. Just insert your personality right at the beginning. A real quick story on that. I mentioned 6 months ago that I was going to start doing CrossFit, and literally the next day after that podcast aired, the head of marketing at Reebok emailed me and said, John, love the show. Let me send you some CrossFit Nanos. I responded back. I said, Kate will kill me if I get CrossFit Nanos, and she does. And he's like, send me her shoe size. And the next day we had 2 sets of Nanos, size 10 and size whatever Kate is, and we were running on them the next day. And it was just because I shared a little personal side of what I was doing, and someone's like, oh, I want to reach out to John and say holla.
Boom is the noise that goes with that, by the way.
I want to reach out to Stout and say,
Boom.
I love that. Which, by the way, I love whenever that clown noise that was in the background where you're talking. That's what was cracking me up. I thought that went with your personality.
Yeah, perfect.
Which, I mean, I'll add to that, too. When I started doing these shows, I'm like, God, what is it going to be? Like, how am I going to be? And I was finally like, the only thing you can be. And so the personality thing, I'm going to be good with that if that's going to come across on the podcast but I love the authenticity. I love celebrating all the other HOA hosts that have their shows. We all love what the other one's doing, but we appreciate whatever style they have. So, I know we preach this every week, but that authenticity piece, you guys, that's the key as well, right?
It's the key to sustainability.
It is.
How in the world could you do a podcast every single day if you were pretending to be somebody else?
Yeah, like stuffy, and then you're tired, you didn't have enough coffee, you're like, I'm just going to have to bust it out, right?
Yeah. Well, and I love the point. The whole idea of just do it really speaks to my recovering inner perfectionist.
Hashtag.
Just push away from the what ifs, coulda, woulda, shoulda, just get rid of all of that and just step out and do it. I think you guys have all made just some fantastic points of there's so much fear tied up into it of what am I going to talk about? What am I going to say? What am I going to ask? What could go wrong with the technology piece? There's so much.
You're describing my show every week, by the way. That was some hot mess.
Yeah, but look at how it has resonated and connected with people because you just put yourself out there. You just talk about what you love. You talk about, what you do every single day, and you're just you. You're Mia.
And thank God for that, right? But that's for everybody too, right, Rebecca? I mean, and I'm loving that. And I think you guys, we are really sparking some people to say, hey, what about me? Because then we always have Maureen McCarthy. Can anyone do a business podcast? I have no clue. Guess what Maureen needs to do? She needs to go get on a podcast workshop, ladies and gentlemen.
He's sitting right there.
Exactly. He's the man right over there. Listen, guys, speaking of thinking we didn't have anything to talk about, please, which not that we did, but we are coming up close to the end of the hour. John, I didn't have time to prep you on this, but I know you guys all know what's coming up. What's coming up? Anyone? Can you guess?
Back crap crazy.
Back crap crazy, bitches. That's right. So I'm going to pick randomly who to start with. And just to prep the crowd, a lot of times people ask me, what's this back crap crazy BS? It's just, I love that term for being, and I use it in a good way. I am back crap crazy about at least 10 things a day, which is a pretty fun way to live. So it's a person, place, or thing, or anything that you are crazy about. And I've gotten everything from vampire porn to somebody's dog. I get all kinds of stuff, and I feel like it's a way for my guests to really shout out and pay it forward and talk about something they love. Can't even go wrong with that. So with that, Shannon, Kapuya.
Why me all the time, bro?
Son of a bitch. It's all
Oh, man. Well, I got a couple things I am back crap crazy about. I am back crap crazy about Google Forms at this point right now.
Okay, nerd. I love it.
Total dork moment, I know. Just amazing. But, again, I mean, I think people understand the love I have for my sister. They probably think I'm a little weird. But to see someone grow as much as my sister has grown and get it out there and just pump it out. I mean, Wendy is just she's the person that I'm completely back crap crazy for right now because she's crushing what she can do right now with her law firm.
Which, I mean, as you guys may or may not know, Shannon and I usually only address each other as
bruh.
I'm always trying to get Shannon to be
it's like, what was it? Dog the Bounty Hunter. It was Dog the Bounty Hunter. Like, what's up, bruh? So anytime Mia calls me, and I should say that I'm probably back crap crazy about Mia too because she calls me, and the first thing that I'll do is I'll grab the phone and I'll be on the hangout. I'll pull the phone up and it'll be like pointing to my sleepy head, and I'll be like,
bruh. My favorite
So,
thing in the whole world. It makes me
that's all it is. I mean, you have nothing else to say, bruh. And she's like,
kind of like the WhatsApp. It's the new version of it, you guys. So I love it. All right, Miss Eli, darling, what are you back crap crazy about? Oh, gotcha.
I am bat crap crazy about the supportive men on Google+.
Yay, honey.
Cha-ching.
Like that. I
And
do
really
like
the
that
supportive
one.
men here, I put up something yesterday. Yeah. So
You guys
I
say
really,
the single men on Google+.
no, the supportive men. Don't let my boyfriend hear that.
Exactly.
So here's the thing. I put up a post yesterday that said, ladies, it's time to stop asking for permission.
Amen.
Now here's what's so bat crap crazy. Not a single woman commented. Every single comment came from a man.
Oh.
So I am bat crap
Point,
crazy about how men on these platforms support women in standing in their value. So bat crap crazy about y'all.
That was like a pulpit bat crap crazy because I like it so much. Because it's a preach, and that is kind of a little bit of a precursor on Valentine's Day. We are going to be having a show where we are going to be talking about kind of gender diversity and how people are representing here on Google+. For stay tuned because it might be called the When Shit Gets Real show, just so you know. Just be warned, Mark Traffican and Eric Enga are going to be on that one too. So, John Lee, I'm going to jump to you, honey. Who are you bat crap crazy about?
Okay, I am bat crap crazy. 3 blocks from where I'm sitting right now is a little yogurt stand called Bogart Yogurt. And they just released this new flavor called Cream de Mint. And so I go in there and I order a medium cream de mint. They fill it halfway, and then I have them put Reese's peanut butter cups, and then they fill it the other halfway.
CrossFit.
And then I have them put. That's why I do CrossFit.
Exactly.
And then they
He's not
put
stupid.
freshly baked brownies on the top that are still warm, that kind of start to melt through the cream de mint yogurt. And so as I'm eating the top half, it's like warm brownies with cream de mint yogurt. Then I get to the middle, then it's a peanut butter cup surprise, and then by the end it's just I'm bat crap crazy.
Oh my God, I'm bat crap crazy now. I got to get out there.
I was just going to say.
And then by the time he hits the bottom of the bowl, he's like, all right, let's go to CrossFit.
And listen, I want you to post a link there because I'm so hyper local, but think globally. That's the kind of stuff I'm loving, dude. Like, support the people that you love that make your day happy. It sounds like every day.
Bogart yogurt.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you, dear. All right, Rebecca, darling, you're on. That crap crazy.
Well, I have so many directions I could go, but I'm gonna stick with being totally bat crap crazy over my team. Mia, like I told you last time,
That's right.
I was here. I was just making a huge shift, kind of going from working on my own to working with just an amazing team. And I cannot begin to tell you what it feels like every single day to wake up and work with people that inspire you, that challenge you to be that best version of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And we just got done with a huge project. Just rolled out an 8-week training that I am super, super proud of.
Yeah.
So just totally crazy over each and every one of them that I get the chance to work with them every single day. I consider myself one lucky girl.
And I was just looking that up because I had there. We're gonna loop back real quick. Tell us what your call to action is. Speaking of that new one, then I want to loop back, and then I'm gonna get my bat crap crazy, and then we're out of here. What's your call to action, Rebecca?
Well, if you're ready to stand out online, if you're ready to monetize what you've been trying to do across the web, so everything from your website to your blog, all of your content marketing, your social media, that's exactly what me and my team are here to help you do. So check out my website, RebeccaRadice.com, and click that big box where it says Stand Out Online.
Big box. We love it.
Big
Thank
box.
you, darling. Yay. Eli.
Take it easy.
Exactly. I love it. Darling, call to action.
So if you're ready to find the diamond niche, come to my website, which is Eli, E-L-I, Davidson, D-A-V-I-D-S-O-N. And if you're really a serious business owner, we have 10 strategy sessions available. So fill out the strategy session box, and 10 of you get 15 minutes to just pick my brain
That's some
on
good
where to
stuff, too.
find the money.
And then your show is going to be on at
I've got my
Innovators.
first show, you guys. I have my very first show, my HOA.
I know. That does get us.
It's such a shout out to you, the Mia Goddess. Oh,
darling,
my gosh.
I was so excited when you drank the Google Plus Kool-Aid. I cannot even tell you. I was like, here, drink this.
She did. She abducted me. And to Lanny Sullivan, who's running it, so.
Yep, amen. And we're going to post the link
Maybe
on
I'll
that.
get earbuds fixed by then. So it's in 2 hours, so it's 11 o'clock Pacific Standard. The Velocity Factor.
The Velocity Factor. And we're going to post that link on there, too. Brother John, tell us what you want us to do.
Well, if anybody's been just digging the podcasting vibe, again, podcasters.
I believe so.
Podcastersparadise.com is where you can check out our free live podcast workshops we do every single week. We're actually throwing 2 next week to be more flexible in the times because we're getting so many great people to show up, and we actually have an amazing chat room as well right on that the YouTube live page that we have set up through the lead pages. And also, if anybody already is currently podcasting and they want to see what's working for us, they want to emulate our successes and just as importantly avoid our failures, we share it all every single month, all of our income reports, both the mistakes and the successes at eofire.com/income.
Awesome. And you guys, he's going to post all that. And just so, by the way, it wasn't pair of dice, it was paradise. Somebody was like, did you say pair of dice?
I have a paradise.
Exactly. You need to get on the singing one next time we have a singing show, too. Kapuya, Shannon, what do we do? What do you want us to do?
Oh, head on over to my website, just like everyone else here, shannonjhernandez.com. And if you're confused about all this Google Plus stuff and just wondering why is it even necessary to be on this platform, that's what I do. I educate you on Google Plus, how it ties back to your website, how it helps SEO rankings, et cetera, et cetera. I wouldn't say et cetera, et cetera. It's going to help you, I promise you that, and how you can leverage all of these Google tools to benefit your business. So it's all at shannonjhernandez.com.
That's just talk about branding, bitches, because everybody's got a brand. Look at, they were able to say it, and they're all on it. So, hey, real quick, my Backcrap Crazy is connection because people like Ray Perret with Dauphin, who I'm nutty about. Then I got introduced to him by Craig Fifield, and then Ray introduced me to John Lee Dumas. Deborah Ferris introduced me to Eli. Rebecca, I just have been stalking you, so there's that.
Everyone's been stalking Rebecca.
Oh, sure. Actually, I've been stalking all you. Shannon, I can't even remember how we got, through Christine. So I am Backcrap Crazy about connection. That's all there is to it because it's what's making my world go round. My call to action, themiaconnect.com. Come back every Friday, 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, because we are going to keep bringing people like the people here. So, guys, that's it. Mwah, have a fantastic weekend. Bye.
See you later.
Thank you.
I get here, the water's fine. Come on in, right? So, and last but not least, we have my brother from another mother, Mr. Shannon J. Hernandez. What up?
How you doing?
Hi, darling. How are you? Do the face that we love that you do.
Oh, yeah. When someone tells me something that I just can't do anything about, I just go.
I need to make that into like a cartoon T-shirt, I think.
No, seriously. You ever come into that where people are like, well, you can't do this and you can't do that, and then they throw so many things at you, and I just go.
I got nothing.
Can't do anything about it.
And I actually do it a lot. I'm not as effective at it as you are, but well, listen, Mr. Wears a lot of hats. That's your Native American name.
Yes.
Tell us about you.
Well, I am the owner of shannonjhernandez.com, and like Rebecca and Eli, I try to translate that idea of offline to online. There seems to be a lot of people out there that still can't figure this out. John is a success story at that. So, well, actually, just online, but just and so just doing that is just helping people out. That's what I really enjoy doing. And
we'll have some ROI.
And I'm going to give that. That too. Next up, I'm going to go online. I have John Lee Dumas. He is Entrepreneur on Fire. Welcome to the show.
JLD.
You've been a little bit of a hangout hooker this week because I saw you on a show yesterday too, and it was awesome. So, not that anybody needs you to tell us, but tell us about you.
I've been slumming around, Mia, no doubt, but I am the founder and host of Entrepreneur on Fire, which is a 7-day-a-week business podcast where I interview inspiring and successful entrepreneurs share their journey. We've done over 500 shows now in the course of about 16 or 17 months. We were voted best in iTunes for 2013, but it is official. We lost the Stitcher Podcast Awards last night up in San Francisco for Best Business Awards. So cue the booing. Cue the booing.
Yeah, I don't have a little wah, wah, wah. Right. Actually, I do.
APN Marketplace took it down.
Ah, there you go.
Perfect.
Oh, man. But, I really wish you would do something with your life. Good Lord. You got it all going on. And we are definitely going to pick your brain about the year of the podcast because I saw that. And I know Shannon is going to get all over that, too. So welcome to the show. We're so happy to see you. Where are you out of, by the way?
San Diego.
Nice. I got the West Coast covered pretty hardcore because next up I have Miss Pretty in Pink. Hello, Rebecca Radice.
Good morning.
And I want to tell everybody, don't call it Radis.
Yeah, radish. I get it all.
Nehemiah, I'm with you on that one, sister. Tell us about you.
Well, I am the founder and CEO of Rebecca Radice LLC. It is a boutique digital marketing agency, and I think Eli and I have a lot in common. We are here to help you really take what you have established offline and blow it up online. So really figure out how to translate that and then monetize.
And we are definitely going to cover that today. And yeah, that is a kapuya moment.
I have got to
love
be
that
as soon as we're done.
Exactly. We are definitely going to cover that topic today too because I love that. I think there's a lot of people that have not planted their flight. Hello, everyone. It's Friday. Welcome to the latest edition of the Mia Connects Power Chat. I'm your host, Mia Voss. You guessed it. And we have 4 fabulous guests again this week, like we always do. It's going to be power packed. So I'm going to tell you right now, I want to see some questions and some chatter going on. Chop, chop. Let's get going. I am going to first say thank you to my continuing sponsor and business affiliate, Edge Ad Exchange. And I'm going to have to get some applause going here in 1 second and get it warmed up. As you guys know, I love that. Yay. And I'm going to introduce my guests, and then we're going to get to some comments, and then we're going to get to some serious chatter. So I have a very diverse, you know how I love that, right, Shannon?
Yes, a very diverse.
A very diverse panel going on here, and I'm going to start with one lady that I love. This is Miss Ileane Davidson coming out of LA. Hello, darling. Tell us about you real quick, sweetie.
So I am here to help you create velocity in your business, and I've been on CNN, the Today Show, and I've chosen to really plant this flag here in Google Plus and show y'all.
Of course, as everyone knows, I help my sister's law firm, Hernandez Family Law, here in Phoenix, Arizona, and translate that offline experience into online, so trying to meld the two together.
And she's got her own show as well, too. She's doing a lot of HOAs, right?
Yeah, she does a lot of HOAs called the Family Law, the Family Law Insider, and she does the HOAs here, and then she translates them into a podcast. Well, I do all that editing for her.
Nice. You got that skill set. That's why I'm picking your brain all the time, too. So, and what is it? Make divorce easy. That's going to dumb it down, right?
Yes. Make divorce easy and cheap.
Exactly. And we all love cheap. All right, guys, we're gonna get into the part that I love, which is engaging the audience and getting everybody out there. So again, I really do want you guys to ask questions, and don't forget that you can tweet that crap crazy hashtag. I know I'm not supposed to do that, but I don't care. And also, get your learn on is my other favorite, and we'll be posting those here as well. And then we are about a minute, maybe about 30 seconds a minute ahead of you. So if we look like we're ignoring you, we're actually not, so not to worry. Let's get a couple comments up here.
I will.
Yeah, and look what's happening.